Drink in the house. Happy Sunday to everybody. Hope you're enjoying a restful day. The DAC video went over well. Obviously the titles are a little inaccurate, but hey man, it's sad but true. You got to put something that's going to bring eyes, right? And sometimes my titles don't even relate to what's being said on my videos, but don't get angry at me for it. You got to do what you got to do. Like, the sad thing about YouTube is people would rather see someone getting killed, for instance, than someone speaking from their heart. And that's how sick the world is, So, I talked about the DAC syndrome, and, it's mostly the inexperienced ones that are caught up in that rabbit hole. And that's why I started the channel. I'm just here to try to help. I'm just here to try to curb the insanity, because this thing can really progress and it can become pretty nasty at some point. And I know there's a lot of people out there suffering. They don't need to admit it or come on here and say, yeah, I got an audio addiction. It's okay, because I already know. I already know that it's a reality out there. And, we have to really, in life, we have to look at our priorities. And we really, really have to look at the future on how expensive it's going to be to live out our lives, okay? I got some people that are in my life, thanks to AA, that have, multiple decades sober, and they're much older than me, right? And I'm able to get really good advice in all things called life, including finances, okay? If you have children and you want these really expensive educations for them, these are the things that have to come ahead of this crazy hobby, man. But then this is the one that really was unbelievable. He has a couple friends that had a couple million. You know what ended up happening, guys, is they outlived their money. Okay, so in reality, here in North Vancouver, say you get a little bit old and your body starts to fail on you, you just can't take care of yourself anymore, and you're even in your own home that you own. And you got to get taken to a care home. Well, here's some numbers for you. This is just a medium quality care home. $13,000 a month, okay? Now, and then there's the people that are probably like me that just don't ever want to have to leave my home. I want to live out my home forever here. I'm just going to be as stubborn as can possibly be. Well, guess what? Guess what a 24/7 in-home nurse costs, guys? $32,000 a month. So what once was called rich is just not, it doesn't exist anymore, guys. So this is what I'm saying when it comes to your budget and your income, when it comes to audio equipment. All the power for those guys that know how to fix stuff themselves and even build stuff themselves. They're in a very good place when it comes to hi-fi. So you need to live your own size, okay? Meaning that this money that you're spending on hi-fi shouldn't even really be affecting you. This should be just surplus cash that you're able to just let go without it affecting any of these things, any of these plans for the future, So that's my teaching. And, I have a really nice and very expensive system. Compared to the percentage of the world, there's not many people that have a $50,000 to $60,000 system, right? That's what it would cost to replace what's behind me here. So, of course, I didn't pay that. I just got really well versed in the used market. And there are a couple pieces here that I bought brand new. But anyways, I'm just saying, right? The last video was about DACs. Heaven forbid you enjoy your DAC and a new one comes out and you got to get rid of it without even knowing anything about the builders or the history of this new company or who's involved building them. Yet you just, for no reason at all. Like, to this day, out of all the DACs that I've owned, I never got caught in that rabbit hole. The favorite one I ever owned was the Metrum Hex. It was a no-holds-barred DAC at the time. It was completely proprietary, as they are now. And then these models that Metrum offer today are unchanged for over a decade now. The Pavane has been their flagship for years. I know the owner went and built Sonnet and now has come back. But these are the builders and the DAC companies that I feel you should be heading to. Or, you know, these guys that it's proprietary, and of course you gotta like the sound, and that's gonna be obviously different for everybody. But you know, that's all that video was about. But now you're just gonna go into the streamers, right? Like, holy cow, this is another rabbit hole, and this is another one where there's a new one on the block every 6 months, just like computer technology. Well, I'm here to tell you that a streamer does make a big difference. I know people say, oh, but they're just computers. Yeah, but they're built specifically for that reason, to stream music. Yeah, you could use a Mac Mini and get good results and have all these other softwares that you pay for and do all that, but I'm a guy that likes simplicity in my audio system, and I stumbled across using high-end streamers quite a long time before a lot of people. And of course, I was introduced by someone else who was into having a server. One of the very best that ever came to market, obviously Bryston came before, but their software was so poor. Once I experienced it, I knew what he was talking about when he said that software is just important as the sound. And guys, it is. So when the Arender N100H came out, it was such a huge thing to hit the market, right? Everything about it was just incredible. The build quality, the stability of the unit, the way the customer service works, how they tap right into your unit from their end, fix any glitches, you know, online software updates, and on top of it all, one of the best apps to navigate your unit on the market, and still is today, called the Conductor app, right? So this is the first one that came to my room, and I was able to experience just how important it was. And I didn't compare, oh, was it as good as the turntable and all that? I don't do that, because it's a completely different experience digital. One is almost too convenient, and the other is hands-on. It's like, you know, so. And then I and I kept that for a long time, right? Because I had some prior units before that I just hated for those reasons. The software, the odd dropouts, things like that. So I'm a wired connection guy. And I always will be. Maybe one day I've experienced maybe one unit that I didn't realize I didn't have plugged into the wall, and it was operating flawlessly, and that was the Sonos amp. But getting back to the streamers, so I started on this journey. I kept that one for at least 6 years. And that, again, guys, that's an eternity if you're a so-called audiophile. People barely even keep something for a year and it's out the door. For what reason? Who knows? A lot of that is compulsiveness, though. It just is. They have something great there and they don't even know it, and they're getting rid of it for something they think is going to be better. Meanwhile, all it is different. That's it. So, you know, and then I went up to other ones. I tried the name streaming systems, which are superb as well. If you like that sound, they're one of the godfathers of it as well. They've been doing it a long, long time. You know, and then I went up to a higher end Bryston. Then I went, where was it from there? I think I went to, I don't know the order, but I think it was a Lumen T2, which unfortunately had a built-in DAC, and I will advise against that. Even though I have a one-box solution here, if you're building a separate system, I would advise against having a built-in DAC with your streamer, unless it's just you engage with it and you absolutely love it. And I know they're out there, but they're going to be really expensive. Ones that have an actual superb DAC built in with the streamer. I've never come across it. I've had a couple. But there's good reason why these flagship streamers are bare bone, okay? So the T2 was just horrible for me. Software was good. Sound too analytical, too digital. In the setup I had. You could clearly tell it had some glare, some hardness on the edges, some sibilance, this kind of stuff. And so that was out the door. And then the Orlick came in. I really liked that as well, but same thing. Great software, a little bit too much digititis. Too many people to the party and the presentation, you know. So that one, the Lumen, the Orlick. the Arender. So those are some three pretty big hitter companies when it comes to streaming. And then the NAD. NAD's great, guys. I got nothing bad to say about Blue Oath. I got the M10 here right now, which honestly, if your budget, if you want a box that can do it all and has ample power and great stability for streaming, sounds great. You can't go wrong with this little piece. It's just phenomenal. And you don't need V2 or 3. I wouldn't need the phono stage. I'd get a separate one. This one doesn't have the phono stage. But anyways, that's a different conversation. But, there's so many streamers to the market. You got your Ever Solos, and I know they came with glitches. They were glitchy, and they still could be. I just don't. The one that really dropped my jaw in my room, which this emotion has not happened many times to me in 30 years. Less than that. Less than 5. The Spatial was one of those times where they came into my room, and it just was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But when the Inuus Zen MK3 came in, okay, which is, again, guys, I always revisit this topic because I know how popular this segment is. But again, I play in the sweet spot of a lineup that may have a really high-end model and, in the 20, 30 grand range, and then it trickles down where maybe, the midline's around 6 grand, and then from that point you got to go to 10 grand. Well, I don't go there. I stay in around the 5-6 grand mark new for the streamers. Of course, the Lumen T2 with the booster was more, but the Inuus just absolutely crushed it in an organic presentation, fully analog. Just the build of the thing, like you opened it up and it's like an integrated amplifier. And I know people may say, yeah, but parts don't mean anything, that there's lots of parts. They may have a case there because there's cutting edge tech that everything's miniaturized. But anyway, it's very substantial, and you feel it in the sound, like the effortless weight to the presentation. I've never heard like so much insight, yet effortless weight to the presentation, and never any digital glare or hardness to the sound. Like, it's just, for me, and I already know that I don't need to, if I was ever to build a separates again, which I hope I don't, I can't say never, but I already know which brand I will go to now. And that's a revelation when you find that. I have no reason to change. Like, I love the sound of that unit so much that I would easily own it again. But I'd probably go without the Ripper because I don't need that. So I'd go to the Pulse. And the Pulse is just a bare bones network streamer. I think it has a hard drive capability. But again, I like just to stream from the network. I don't want anything internal as a hard drive or internal storage because I know that brings noise. No matter what, it brings noise. It's mechanical, guys. There's something moving there, and it's just, maybe the SSDs are quiet. I don't know. I just prefer to stream directly from the network with Tidal Connect or Tidal. But, I have to say that, again, guys, when you find a component that you engage with, it's not going to have, that really just lets you just sit there and go, wow. And you're usually going to know that within the first few hours of owning it, But if you got that feeling of wanting, it doesn't take long to know that something's not for you, because you'll try to put that feeling away and say, oh, it's going to break in and I'm going to love it and all that. No. When that seed's been planted inside your soul, you are not going to be able to hammer it away. It's just, your intuition after doing it for decades is so strong. You already know. You want to love it, but you just can't, so it's got to go. That's why everyone that's gone out and bought the Inuus on my recommendation has all reported back saying that I'm right. So that's what I'm trying to do, is give the advice that can help people. And that's the brand that I will stick with if I'm ever to go that route again, which I probably won't, because the Bel Canto gives me that exact presentation. It's almost like an Inuus integrated amp. There's just no telling that this is a digital unit whatsoever. It's just completely organic and just analog, with great insight into the music. There's no coldness, there's no sterility. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm just saying, watch out for all these new brands that are just coming to market. You know, when there's people out there that have been doing it and focusing on just streamers for years and years and years, refining their craft. These are the ones you want to look for. And yes, they're going to cost money, okay? You get what you pay for. Shrink loves you. Like and subscribe. You know, again, all the super thanks and the love that you guys show keep me coming back, man. I got to keep doing it. Thanks so much. Enjoy your weekend.